Hello, I'm Camelia, and you're watching KiniNews. Bersatu has denied a report on alleged discussions within the party and PN to unseat Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim.
Bersatu Deputy President Ahmad Faizal Azumu has denied claims of an alleged plot by Perikatan Nasional to topple the Anwar Ibrahim-led government. He said he did not hear of such plans and the allegations are baseless. Faizal told Malaysiakini there were no discussions within Bersatu and PN to unseat the Prime Minister, as reported by The Vibes. He added that PN was focusing on the upcoming 6 state elections, in particular states held by Pakatan Harapan. He said he is in touch with Party President Muhyiddin Yassin on a daily basis, and he had never mentioned any attempts to bring down the government. Faizal also dismissed the claims that Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and former Finance Minister Daim Zainuddin would fund the plot. He said he had the opportunity to break fast with Mahathir recently and they didn't talk about politics. Earlier, The Vibes claimed there are talks of an attempt hatched by PN to convince several BN MPs to quit to pave way for by-elections. According to the report, should the BN MPs win, they will be able to form a new government with the help of MPs from Sabah and Sarawak and install PN leader Muhyiddin Yassin as the Prime Minister again. The report also claimed the plotters were expecting Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and former Finance Minister Daim Zainuddin to fund the plot because Bersatu's bank accounts were frozen.
Meanwhile, MCA President Wee Ka Seong, who was also named in the report, has denied his party's involvement in the alleged plot.
MCA President Wee Ka Seong has denied being involved with an alleged plot by PN to overthrow the government. Wee said MCA MPs who were among the names mentioned in a report were not involved.
Bagi saya, selaku Presiden MCA, saya memandang berat ini. Sebenarnya media sepatutnya berdasarkan kepada maklumat yang telah disemak. Tunjuk pada bukti. Macam mana kita terlibat? Walhal kita sendiri pun tidak tahu ada usaha ini ataupun percubaan ini. Jadi macam mana saya dan YB Datuk Seri Wijek Singh, nama kami ditulis dalam laporan tersebut. Ini perbuatan yang keji, yang patut dikecam. Saya menganggap laporan ini mengarut dan juga tidak berasas. Kami tidak terlibat. Kami pun tidak tahu menahu.
He also questioned the logic for them to support MPs who were elected by the people and then attempt to force a by-election by resigning. Wee said that both himself and Tanjung Piai MP Wijek Singh would not support such a cause, adding that their priority was to save the economy and matters involving the public. Yesterday, The Vibes claimed there are talks of an attempt hatched by PN to convince several BN MPs to quit to pave way for by-elections. According to the report, should the BN MPs win, they will be able to form a new government with the help of MPs from Sabah and Sarawak and install PN leader Muhyiddin Yassin as the Prime Minister again. They quoted a source as saying that among the BN lawmakers are the 10 MPs who had previously signed statutory declarations backing Muhyiddin as their Prime Minister candidate after last year's general election.
According to the report, PN would also need the help of MPs from Sabah and Sarawak to form the government. However, according to a GPS leader, no one has approached them about it.
Gabungan Parti Sarawak Parliamentary Chief Whip Fadillah Yusof has dismissed reports of an alleged plot to topple the unity government. When quizzed by reporters at his Hari Raya open house today, he said he was unaware that there was such a move in the first place and would not comment on something that is not reliable. Fadillah added that they had not been approached by anyone on the matter. According to the Borneo Post, Fadillah also stressed that GPS remains firmly behind the unity government and is focusing on work to make sure that Malaysia will return to its glory days. He said GPS has repeated many times through their premier and also himself that what they want is a stable, strong government which focuses on putting Malaysia back on the right track in terms of economic recovery, the well-being of the people, and of course, the wealth of the country. He added that if they keep on politicking, they would fall behind in the ASEAN region. Yesterday, the Vibes reported that there are talks of an attempt hatched by PN to convince several BN MPs to quit to pave way for by-elections. According to the report, should the BN MPs win, they will be able to form a new government with the help of MPs from Sabah and Sarawak and install PN leader Muhyiddin Yassin as the Prime Minister again.
Two government figures have hit out at a past MP over his criticism of Putrajaya's decision to hold Hari Raya open house events in 6 states.
UMNO Supreme Council member Muhammad Puad Zarkashi has defended Putrajaya's decision to hold the federal government's Hari Raya open house event in 6 states instead of the administrative capital. He said this in response to Kedah Menteri Besar Sanusi Noor's criticism over the move. In a statement yesterday, Puad said it wasn't necessary to host the event in Putrajaya every year. He added that such events were appropriate as the purpose for an open house was for public relations and the government needs to build strong ties with the grassroots. Puad invited Sanusi to attend and said he can stand next to the Prime Minister from dawn to dusk to shake hands with visitors. Puad also dismissed Sanusi's allegation that the 6 open houses were a waste of funds and instead advised Sanusi not to hold open houses of his own since the federal government was already doing so. If the same people attend, that would be a waste. Sanusi should focus on the purposes of having open houses to seek forgiveness and be merry, he said. Meanwhile, Selangor Menteri Besar Amiruddin Shari said his administration had held localized open houses in all 9 districts and experience showed it was the cheaper option. Previously, Sanusi had criticized the move, saying that it was campaign events for the 6 state elections and should not be held. Sanusi added that the government was going against their own position of cutting down on massive events to cut costs. Traditionally, the Prime Minister's open house will be held at his residence in Putrajaya on the first day of Aidil Fitri. However, this year, 6 of such events will be held in Kedah, Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, Terengganu, Kelantan, and Penang.
The Kelantan government has urged mosques and surau in the state to hold Solat Hajat for rain amid the extreme hot weather the nation is facing.
Kelantan Menteri Besar Ahmad Yaakob has called on mosques and suraus in the state to hold Solat Hajat for rain. This comes amid the scorching hot weather there. In a statement today, Ahmad said that the prolonged hot spell that is expected to last until August has caused drought and damaged crops in the state. He urged the people of Kelantan to pray and hold Solat Hajat in their respective homes and also called on imams to hold prayers in mosques and surau to pray for rain for the benefit of all. He added that hopefully with such efforts, God will send His mercy to all of us by giving rain and refreshing the earth. 2 days ago, the Malaysian Meteorological Department issued a Level 1 alert for several areas where temperature could rise up to 35 to 37 degrees Celsius. 4 of the places are in Kelantan, namely Jeli, Kuala Krai, Pasir Mas, and Tanah Merah.
The opposition has still not officially applied for financial allocation for their MPs. This is according to Deputy Prime Minister Fadillah Yusof.
Deputy Prime Minister Fadillah Yusof said he is still waiting for an official application from the opposition bloc to discuss the issue of financial allocations for its MPs. He said although he met past Secretary General Taqiyuddin Hassan recently regarding the matter, it was an unofficial meeting. Fadillah added that he had told them to make an application in black and white and there wouldn't be any negotiations until they received an official letter. He pointed out that during the time of Ismail Sabri's government, a memorandum of understanding was signed and negotiations were held. He said this was just like asking for one's hand in marriage and they couldn't discuss when there is no offer. Earlier, Fadillah was reported as saying that Taqiyuddin was asked to submit the opposition's proposal in writing so that the 2 sides could enter into negotiations. He has not set a time frame for Taqiyuddin, who is the opposition chief whip and Kota Baru MP, to submit the proposal. Previously, it was reported that 3 PN MPs had been selected to represent the coalition in talks with Deputy Prime Minister Fadillah Yusof on allocations for opposition MPs. The 3 are PN Secretary General Hamzah Zainuddin, Bersatu Vice President and Putrajaya MP Radzi Jidin and Taqiyuddin.
Salahuddin Ayub has responded to claims by GTA that the Rahmah concept was an idea from Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. He said there was no need to argue about it, so long as the people get the benefit.
Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Salahuddin Ayub said the issue of who came up with the Rahmah concept need not to be disputed by any quarters, so long as it benefits the people. He said this is because the Rahmah initiative was introduced by the government under the leadership of Anwar Ibrahim to give benefits to the people, especially in facing the cost of living issue. He told reporters when met at his open house yesterday that he had no problem if other political parties wanted to claim the Rahmah initiative. The important thing for him was that the people get the benefit. He added that he believed they should leave the era of Anwar with the Madani concept, introduce the Rahmah initiative, which caters to the needs of the people. Salahuddin said this in response to allegations by Gerakan Tanah Air Deputy Information Chief Ahmad Ibrahim that the Rahmah concept was an idea from former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad. Yesterday, Madzir was reported as saying that the Rahmah concept, which was introduced by the government, was not Anwar's idea, but was conceived by Mahathir when he was the 7th Prime Minister. Madzir said Mahathir introduced Gagasan Rahmah, which was a model for Islamic governance, on February 16, 2020, during a speech in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. He explained that Gagasan Rahmah was an administrative approach, but the government was merely using it as a branding exercise. The Rahmah branding has been used for various government programs recently, most notably the Menu Rahmah scheme, where food outlets are encouraged to sell a healthy meal for 5 ringgit. The most recent example of the Rahmah branding was toll charges exemption on highways on April 21st and April 24th in conjunction with Hari Raya.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to Malaysiakini.com. I'm Kimilia. Thanks for watching.